Welcome to the Vision Room podcast by Vision Scotland. I'm your host, Heather Suttie, and this series features visionaries in their chosen field. Today's guest is an actor many of you will recognise. He's best known for playing DC Stuart Fraser in the long-running crime drama Taggart, a role that made him a familiar face in homes across the world. He's also starred in River City, Shallow Grave and many more films. More recently, he starred in Mayflies, which went on to win a BAFTA. Trained at the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama, Colin McCredie built a career across television, theatre and film. Off-screen, he's known for his warmth, dry humour and his love of music, books and St Johnstone. He's also a dad to 2 daughters and his dog, Lulu. We'll be talking about his career, what drives him creatively and how something as simple as our eyesight plays a huge part in how we experience the world. Colin, welcome to the podcast.
Hi Heather, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks. Now, how does it feel to still be recognised as playing in Taggart after all those years? Like, how long has it been?
So I was in Taggart for about 15 years and I think it's about 15 years since it stopped. So yeah, if I had £1 for every time somebody said to me there's been a murder, I'd have quite a few pounds by now. But no, I don't mind it as long as people are nice and friendly and have a laugh. There's worse things people could shout at you.
Well, indeed. I mean, talking about your choice of football team.
Yes, exactly. I know. Well, St Johnstone, I grew up in Perth, so I like to support my local team. And yeah, we're top of the league at the moment, so we're doing quite well.
Fantastic.
So,
well done. Good. And when you look back at when you first started acting, what was it that made you want to go to the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama? Like, did you always want to be an actor? Yeah,
so I grew up in Perth and my big sister started off working in the theatre and she started off working like as an usher and then she started working backstage. Then she went off to drama school and was a stage manager. So when I was sort of at primary school, she was working as a stage manager in the local theatre. And I would go and see matinees of Agatha Christie plays and musicals and, you know, even like George, like kind of serious plays. And I just loved it. And she would like take you backstage and obviously you got to meet all the actors and know people. So when I was about 11, I realised that my football career probably wasn't going to take off. So I then got involved with Scottish Youth Theatre. I did that and then did a lot at Perth Theatre. I worked in the box office, worked backstage. I went to the youth theatre on a Saturday morning and there was 2 boys there. Me and this wee guy from Crieff, Ewan McSomeone. I don't know what became of him.
Oh,
McGregor or someone.
Oh, well.
So we were the only boys. So I sort of did everything. As I say, I gave out posters, worked in the box office, worked backstage, did wee parts in plays. And the natural progression was that I wanted to go to what was the Royal Scottish Academy of Music and Drama. And it's the only place I auditioned for. Mm-hmm. And I initially didn't get in. I got put on the waiting list and then I didn't get in. And then I was working at the theatre and I thought I'll take a year out. I'll just, work, do bits and bobs, save a bit of money. And it was the dress rehearsal of a play and I was actually up on the fly floor doing the curtains. You had to bring the curtain down at the interval and at the start of the show. And I came down at the interval and the stage manager, Jackie McAlpine, who went on to work in TV, said, "Oh, you have to phone your dad." Ooh. This was
pre-mobile phones.
Go to the pay phone. And no, she went, "You can use the actual phone, the office phone." And I thought, it's urgent. So I phoned my dad and he went, "Oh, you've been offered a place.
Wow.
You start on Tuesday."
Wow.
So it was all a bit. So that was one of those sort of sliding doors moments that if I hadn't got in then, would have got in with my life and career of. So yeah, it's quite interesting looking back.
You mentioned your big sister. Is that your big sister, Annie?
Yes.
So Annie has had an amazing career in television. Yeah. I've worked with Annie on children's TV shows.
Exactly.
But she also works in Line of Duty, doesn't she?
Yes. So Line of Duty starts filming today, but she's actually on Blue Lights. She lives over in Belfast now. So she's doing Blue Lights over Line of Duty. So, but I think she's good friends with Robert Carlyle and I think she's going to show him the sights of Belfast when he's over, because he's in the new series.
Love it. And have you always had a supportive family creatively? Because being an actor, like when I was at school, you know, when you went to see the career advisor, nobody ever said,
No.
do you want to be an actor or a pop star or a musician? So
I remember going to the careers person, and the fact them coming out with, which was 90% of actors are unemployed at any point, just so you know. And that's true. I can testify when I'm not working. So my mum had died when I was 11. So that kind of teenage years, it was just my dad. And my dad he'd just been like worked as a customs officer, was a civil servant. But in my family, we all did lots of different things. So my eldest brother joined the RAF and became a pilot. My sister worked in theatre. My other sister did home economics. My brother did lots of different things. And my dad was, you know, looking back, he was very much supported what he didn't owe. He wasn't a pushy parent. He wasn't like a drama dad, but he was very much like, do what you want to do and give it a go, and supportive in that way. And never pushy, but just like, yeah, give it a go. And we all, as a family, all did really different things. And I think we were all quite successful at what we did. So yeah, we were just allowed to do what we wanted. There was no pressure.
can you remember the first gig that you landed after you graduated?
Yeah, so when I came out of drama school, it was probably the best period in my life. I got 3 jobs in 3 days.
Wow.
I got an advert for a Radio Scotland sort of ident advert that they filmed. And then the next day I got the part in Shallow Grave. And then on the next day after that, I got a part in Dr. Finlay, which ultimately led to probably me getting the part in Taggart, because that was for STV. So I got 3 jobs in 3 days, and all my friends were like, you're so lucky.
That's
and I think that was the most successful period of work I've ever had. It was all downhill from then. And that was like a month after coming out of drama school.
That's awesome. And Shallow Grave, I mean, I remember watching Shallow Grave when that came out. I can't remember which year that would have been, but that was a pivotal moment in Scottish cinema, wasn't it? Because of the casting, because of the story. You were working with Ewan McGregor, your friend from Perth Theatre. So what was that like? It
was surreal. As I say, I came out of drama school and I thought my kind of career line would be in theatre. I hoped that I would go back to Perth and maybe work at Perth Theatre. That didn't happen. And then suddenly I found myself like 2 months after coming out of drama school on a film set with Ewan, we'd been at youth theatre, and we were both like, oh my God, we're in a film. Ewan obviously had a better part, but you know, we were both like, this is surreal. And again, it was such an unusual, exciting film, and I think it certainly did kick, you know, it was pre-Trainspotting and pre a lot of the kind of Scottish film industry taking off, and I think it still stands up. People still talk about it. It's still shown in it. They did so it came out in 95, so last year there was a 30th anniversary screening at the GFT, and they had a new print, and it's a kind of timeless film. It's a bit of a classic. There's not a lot of things. Okay, there's no mobile phones, but the flat is very classic looking. It's like a rotary phone they use in it. It's a classic mini. It's quite timeless actually, and it really does. You know, there's a few bits you go, that's like their video cameras. That's maybe the only, but I think it stands up as a really good film, and it's a great one to be part of.
Most recently, you starred in the BAFTA award-winning Mayflies, which was shown at Christmas not so long ago. Had you read Andrew O'Hagan's book before you landed the part?
Yeah, I had read it and absolutely loved it, and I'd actually given it. It was one of those books that, you know, we've all got group chats with people we were at school with, and like, you know, guys that I was at school with, and it was one of those ones. I think you should read this book. You know, it's relevant to us growing up, going to see bands, you know, when you were at school and after school, and then getting older. And, you know, luckily none of my friends have passed away, but you're at that point where, you know, it's like going, I love you guys without saying, I think you should read this book.
Yeah.
So yeah, when it was getting developed, I was desperate to be part of it. And the way it worked out, they cast lots of people that actually knew each other. So I was a good friend of Tony Curran, who was in it, and Tony was good friends with Martin, and then
Martin Compton.
Yeah, and my friend Peter that directed it, we'd all been at drama school together. So he definitely tried to put together people. Shauna McDonald, who played my wife, I'm a good friend of hers. Her husband was a good friend of Tony's, who was also in it. It was it nepotism? No, I think they just tried to make it. It's a book about friendship
and love,
and lots of people had got on. So it was a great. I would have done anything just to be part of it. Over the years, I've been up for things like Trainspotting, Crow Road, Complicity, novels that I've loved, and I've never ever got a part in the kind of the TV or film dramatization. So it was a big thrill to be part of that and to work with your friends. And I think it went down very well. I think it was a very good,
very
good
moving.
Show. Yeah.
Everyone loved it, and of course,
and a bit different as well.
Very, very different, and also. Men aren't sometimes so good at telling each other that you love them.
Exactly.
And that's what that book and that story did so beautifully.
So I think they're actually doing a stage version of it at the Fringe. So that could be quite exciting as well. Because as I say, I love the film and I'd definitely go and see it. So it's nice to see it's getting a life beyond.
Yeah. Music is a huge part of your life. I see you at gigs all the time. You're friendly with lots of musicians.
Stalker to lots of musicians, more like.
Where did that love of music come from? Like, was that something from an early age? Or, I mean, were there very many bands came and toured in Perth? Or
no, there wasn't hardly any bands at all that came to play in Perth. And I think I had older siblings who were into music, and I grew up listening to like my brothers and sisters' music, so it would be like my brother coming back from university with Blonde, like Parallel Lines, and then my other brother playing the Jam and Echo and the Bunnymen. So I was always surrounded by and seeing them going to concerts. And again at school, that was something I got really into, and hardly any bands at all came, but weirdly one of my favourite bands at the time, Hipsway, came and played Perth City Hall. And I couldn't believe it. It was like my favourite band. And they played this gig when I was 15. It was my first ever gig. And I can still, April the 14th, 1987, I can remember it. And now, 30 odd years later, I'm good friends with Graham Skinner from Hipsway. And, I see him in the street or I go for a pint with him, and I still can't believe that this first band I ever saw. And because not a lot of bands came to Perth when I was, growing up, we would travel all around to see bands. And as a sad individual, I would go and see some bands like 3 nights in a row, Friday, Saturday, in different venues. But yeah, I've always been just quite obsessive about music.
For a small country, we punch well and truly above our weight in terms of music, art and creativity, don't we? Absolutely.
And, the amount of great bands that have come out of and are still coming out of Glasgow and Scotland, and the actors we've produced as well. It's quite, 30 years ago when they were making Rob Roy and Braveheart, there wasn't a leading Scottish actor that could play either of those parts. Mm-hmm. You had maybe Sean Connery, Robbie Coltrane, but there was no leading actors. And now there's so many that could play those parts that if we ever, made films like that. And my only thing is, I just feel as if there's more, there needs to be more work for female actors out there. And we've got some great female actors, but we need to be doing more of that stuff, more films that feature, but because we have great actresses out there, but I would like to see more of that.
In terms of your health and well-being, how has your eyesight changed over the years? Like, was there a moment that you thought, right, I need glasses, or I might need laser eye surgery, or, have you ever experienced some worry in relation to being on a film set or at theatre and going, gosh, I can't see the audience?
Yeah, not being able to see the audience isn't a bad thing. That's quite a good thing. I'd always had what I believed was perfect eyesight. And then maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I started struggling and, not being able, mainly with reading. And I ended up kind of stopping reading and then I got my eyes tested once and it was fine. And then I definitely felt it was an issue. And I remember doing an event and I was having to read a poem and I couldn't read it.
Oh my gosh.
And it was a Burns poem. And I was having, it's not something that you can ad lib. And I was, straining. And that's when I realised you needed glasses. And even like daft things when you're filming they give you a small, like you get a set of sides, they call it, and it's the scenes that you are going to be filming that day. So it might be 8 or 10 pages, and it just so you can look and check your lines. And something that I never thought twice about. Now I struggle to like read them. I need to get a bigger script. And also when you're rehearsing a play, I'd never done it with glasses. Because you're having to look at a script and hold it away, and then one of my friends, you're getting older, and they said, "Oh, you need to get the little like Larry Grayson hat, so that you can." Because sometimes you might know half your line, so you don't want to be standing with glasses. So yes, I'm going to have to invest in a set chain for my glasses when rehearsing.
And have you ever thought about any vision correction solutions?
No, I got an eye test last week, and so I've been wearing reading glasses for a couple of years, and luckily everything was okay. I didn't need to change. I did get approached at one point when I was in Taggart and asked if I would want a discounted laser eye surgery if I would endorse it. And I went, I don't think I need it. So, but no, it's something I would consider. It's such an important thing. And when you start to struggle with it, it makes you realise how important it is. And I'm still slightly deluded that I need glasses. So when I go out for lunch and things, I can't read the menu because I don't take my glasses. So I'm taking a picture with my phone and zooming out.
And see, I'm the opposite.
And these restaurants that have tiny writing.
I know, it's like, why do they do that? I also find as well, like, cosmetics. I mean, obviously, you've got 2 daughters and your wife, and I'm sure you probably sometimes borrow their cosmetics.
Concealer, obviously.
Yes, well, things like that. But the font is so tiny. So I'm actually thinking, A, I need to buy a magnifying glass, but also B, I need glasses for driving or for going to the cinema. So vision correction is definitely something that is on my radar.
Yeah, and I used to laugh. My dad used to have like 2 pairs of glasses, and Lou'd put one up and then he couldn't find them. And then the older he got, his eyesight really went, and he would have like a big magnifying glass to like look at. And now when I'm cooking, I'm like trying to read the instructions on packets, and I've got one of his old magnifying glasses, so I'm going to get it out because I think it's something. Until it starts to go, you don't realise how important it is.
Exactly, and it's the kind of sense that can affect your mental health and your well-being. It's like it can leave you feeling alienated or discombobulated. If you're in the audience at the theatre, let's say, and you can't fully concentrate on what's happening because you can't see, it does leave you feeling slightly, I don't know.
I do, and now I do feel a wee bit paranoid that if you are working, that if you don't have your glasses, that you won't be able to read things, and you are doing all that, and it's such an important part of your life, and when it starts failing, you're getting older.
Yeah, I know.
And it's one of the first tangible things that's happened to me.
And speaking of working, tell us what you're working on just now.
So, been up for a few things recently. Start of the year, everything's not kicked off. But what I've got coming up is I've got a wee appearance in the new Richard Gadd series, Half Man, which is about to come out, which is the sort of follow-up to Baby Reindeer.
Yes.
And it's a 6-part series.
Are you playing a stalker?
No, I play a kind of arts journalist. I play kind of a bit like someone like you, interviewing Jamie Bell at the launch of his book in it. So Jamie Bell and Richard Gadd's written it and produced it, and it's about kind of toxic male, masculinity. Mm-hmm. And I don't think there's been anything like it filmed in Scotland. I think it's going to be a bit like Baby Reindeer, kind of mental. Mm-hmm. I read, I think, 4 of the scripts, and they were fantastic. And it's quite an insane program. So I saw a wee bit of it when I was doing some voiceover work on it afterwards. But it's going to come out next month. Okay. On BBC and HBO. So great. I think people are going to be talking about it a bit like Baby Reindeer, I think.
Okay, amazing. And see, when you go up, I'm always intrigued when people go for auditions, because I can only imagine it's like incredibly nerve-wracking. So how do you get into character
It's weird. A lot of things recently, most auditions now are self-tapes. So you basically just do them at home.
Right.
And you're trying, that can be hilarious when you've got a
The
dog.
doorbell goes.
The doorbell, Amazon deliveries.
The dog barks.
Yeah. So like I am continually have issues trying to do self-tapes at home. It's always a disaster. And it's hard because you've got to give a version of what you think's right without any feedback. And sometimes you spend a lot of time on them and sometimes you don't. And I did a self-tape recently and I was really rushed. I was short of time. It had to be in an accent, and I did it very quickly and sent it off, and I immediately got a recall for the part, and which was really nice. I was like, really? Oh, I thought that wasn't very good. And they went, oh, they loved you. And then I said to my agent, I said, oh, that's weird because that wasn't a very good tape. I didn't think. Mm-hmm. She went, oh, I thought it was brilliant. So I'm now coming to the decision that I'm just going to not put too much effort into it and just do it kind of quick and naturally and not overthink it. And then often if they like it, they then maybe get you back and meet in person. But yeah, it's one of these, just like kind of something you've got to do. Get on with it.
As part of your job.
And the positive side it is that previously you would maybe have to travel to London and pay a lot of money to go down and meet people, whereas now it's a lot of it's done remotely. So there's the positives and negatives. And
finally, you have 2 young daughters. Do they keep you on your toes musically? Do you ever go to gigs with your daughters?
Yes, so I do. I like a lot of the bands that they're into. I went with my daughter to the Snuts at the Barrowlands last year. I've dragged Betsy, the younger one. We went to see Hamish Hawk play in a library, which was quite a hipster experience. And I'm going to drag them both to see the Bluebells at the bandstand in the summer, at Kelvin Grove Bandstand, because it's such a great night and it'll be such a lovely, fun Glasgow West End. The whole of the West End of Glasgow will be there that night, and it'll be a lovely summer's night with lots of lovely positive pop songs.
Love it. Remind us again of when we can next see you on TV.
So Half Man, I think, is coming. I don't think there's a definite date yet, but I think it's late April. It'll be on BBC, and I think it'll be very interesting. I'd say it's just a wee cameo that I pop up in, but it's quite a cool one to be involved in.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be a nice one to have in your CV.
Absolutely. That is it for today's episode of the Vision Scotland podcast. A huge thanks to Colin McCredie for sharing his story and being so open and funny about work and life. You can find out more about Vision Scotland and the support available at visionscotland.com. Colin, thank you so much.
Thank you.